Hello, boys and girls, ladies and gents. This is DafubFilm&TV, and I have just watched episode 2 of season 2 of Loki. So I thought I would give you my views on it right now. Spoilers if ahead if I give spoilers, so spoiler warning. And what's the first thing to come to mind? The production quality on this show, just the visuals of it, are just so distinct. I mean, it's kind of things that, I kind of remembered about the first season, but it really kind of sticks into it here. It's kind of this kind of pseudo kind of 60s, 70s kind of architecture, or at least kind of this kind of not 60s, 70s architecture. Well, like the electronic systems, all the equipment, just the sets, it's all like really, really, really well done. And it's so visually distinct from what we've seen from the rest of Disney Plus, or for that matter, I can't think of a single show that is in any way, shape, or form visually as distinct as this in terms of kind of premium streaming shows. And it really kind of helps the presentation and the production value of it, because it just looks so distinct. And I have to say, it looks great. You could say that about Ahsoka, not so much about Secret Invasion. You could certainly say that about Ahsoka or season 3 of The Mandalorian. The production quality was certainly there. It's just that, the core thing above all else, the story, the writing, the dialogue just wasn't. And in this, again, maybe it's just the kind of the my expectations for Disney Plus shows are now so low because of a combination of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Secret Invasion, the Book of Boba Fett, season 3 of The Mandalorian, and now Ahsoka is better than those shows. But it's possible that I maybe think this show is better than it actually is, because of the combination of high production quality, the distinct visuals, and the fact that it is so far the dialogue. There's a lot more of it than there was in Ahsoka, and it's just so much kind of better written. And the cast, the cast are excellent. Owen Wilson is great in this. Tom Hiddleston is great in this. The other cast members are doing their jobs very, very well. I forget their names. I apologize. It's just so, it's so well put together in terms of production, and it's just so much stronger on both the quality and the quantity of the dialogue compared to Ahsoka, that we're only 2 episodes in. This episode's like 49 minutes, so it's a bit longer than episode 1, but we're 2 episodes in, and I certainly feel much better about this show than I did about Secret Invasion after the first 2 episodes, and dare I say it, Ahsoka as well, because again, the dialogue is there. The writing is there. Now, the story might not end up making up any sense by the end of the season, and there could be plot threads that go nowhere. And at this point, I think it's how many episodes is there? Is there 6 episodes or 8? I can't remember off the top of my head. But either way, things are still building up in terms of the story. But it's happening, like, again, more kind of things, more kind of main story kind of threads have happened in, the more plot points is the story's progressed more in these first 2 episodes than it did in half the season of Ahsoka. Like, more, just a lot, like Ahsoka entire episodes, very little in terms of the actual, thing that pushes the story along actually happens in most of the individual episodes, and it's one of the reasons why the show feels so slow compared to this. This feels much faster paced for that very reason. It is, again, it may not be that I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that it's the best written show ever. I'm not saying it's on par with The Boys or with House of the Dragon. I'm not claiming that at all. but it is 2 episodes in is so much better than Ahsoka or Secret Invasion. It's not even funny. And maybe then again, because of what I've come to expect from Disney Plus, my expectations are much lower than they would be otherwise, and maybe I'd be saying, "Oh, it's going nowhere, or it's not good enough, yada yada yada." But because it's Disney Plus, this is again much better than what we've gotten out of them recently. But again, I didn't bother to watch Moon Knight. Maybe I'll go back and watch that at some point. But in terms of the other stuff, this is one of the first Disney Plus shows that came out. This, WandaVision, and Winter Soldier, and dude who wears wings, whose name I can't remember the name of that character again. I've never been a big comic book person. So again, there might be, bring up the comic book fans, they might be as irked by what they've seen so far this season as they were by the last one. I mean, Loki's more of a kind of a bad guy slash, what is the word for him? Not divisive. He's a, I can't. There's a perfect term to describe how he's supposed to be in this, or maybe how he is in the comics. But he isn't. The word escapes me. So maybe they don't think he's kind of evil enough or dark enough or cruel enough or whatever it happens to be. But for again someone who's never, or like up until now, really the only Loki content that I've consumed was Loki season 1 and the various Marvel MCU movies he was in. Outside of that, I've known nothing about the character apart from using Thor's brother. So maybe if you're an OG fan via the comic books in particular, you might hate this. Even to maybe the degree that I hated The Last Jedi for like many people did. But right now, it's not up to the standard yet. I mean, if I compared it to Gen V, those two shows that both their seasons are still relatively early on. I think Gen V is on episode 4. I haven't watched or reviewed that yet. I will do so soon. Actually, episode 5 might be out by now on Gen V. But so it can be a bit difficult to tell. And I gave Ahsoka the benefit of the doubt. Waiting to see, episode after episode, maybe it'll get better, maybe it'll be, the individually the sum more than the sum of its parts, or some of its individual episodes by the end of it. But Ahsoka did not, up its game enough, again, principally in the writing department, to, it's again better than the Star Wars content we've had recently, but nowhere near good enough to resuscitate the IP / brand, or really meaningfully help out Disney Plus. But so far, again, these 2 episodes have done a much better job from my standpoint than the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka. And I will, knock on wood. If you heard that or not, I knocked on some wood. I will give the show the benefit of the doubt and see where it's going. But the dialogue, which allows the cast to act a lot more and to a better standard than the dialogue in Ahsoka does, because that cast might be very, very strong overall, but you wouldn't know it because they don't really get the opportunity to push their talents to the max. Certainly, the 3 female leads in Ahsoka, because of the combination of the dialogue and probably also to a degree at least the direction as well. They're all a bit too stern and taciturn and kind of universally between the 3 of them gray. While you've got very distinct characters in this, very distinct, which the writing and the dialogue very much, gives the actors the meat and 2 veg to allow them to portray the very different characters that they're portraying to the standard we're seeing. And so the show overall is is just much better written than Ahsoka. Well, certainly in terms of dialogue, not can't really tell necessarily in terms of the story overall yet. But I could only imagine how much better Ahsoka would have been if the people who've written the first two episodes of this show had been responsible for writing that either on their own or assisting Dave Filoni on that, because Filoni clearly doesn't know how to do live action, certainly not appointment television live action on his own to the standard required. So overall, I will give the show the benefit of the season the benefit of the doubt. I'll watch the rest of the episodes. I'll continue to let know my thoughts on a per episode basis. But right now, it's got this again great distinctive look to it. Really high production values. Looks great. There's a lot more dialogue, and it's not just a question of quantity; it's also a question of quality. It's just much better written than Ahsoka or the recent Star Wars shows or Secret Invasion. It feels much more fast paced than Ahsoka did. Again, Ahsoka felt, because so little happened from episode to episode, Ahsoka felt slow. A number of the episodes were unnecessarily short, which may have been just to pad out the season, which made the season feel unnecessarily long and slower than it might have felt otherwise. The list really just does go on and on and on. I'm not willing yet to compare it to, say, Gen V or The Boys or season 3 of Star Trek Picard or some of the better quality stuff, or season 1 of House of the Dragon, the better quality / top of the line appointment streaming television that's out there. I haven't watched One Piece yet. I have to get around to doing that. I'm not going to do a per episode review of One Piece. I'll watch the whole thing and then give you my thoughts in a single video. But right now, this is a step in the right direction. But Loki is a step in the right direction. But I genuinely don't know, whether it's going to, mess up from here on out, or if it's going to get better and better, or maintain the current standard. But as I've said already, broken record again, it's more dialogue, and it's not just a question of quantity. The quality of it is a lot better than what we got out of Ahsoka or out of Secret Invasion. And frankly, it gives the cast the ability to actually do their jobs, to act, and the acting overall, is much better here than in season 3 of Ahsoka, or even I'd say in Secret Invasion. And it is, again, so far a much better show than those. But whether it's, again, this is just me, kind of my lowered expectations because of the poor quality of what Disney Plus has been throwing at us lately, I'm not quite sure. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on that. But so far, I think it's a significant step up over Ahsoka and Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion was terrible, so that's not saying much. And Ahsoka was better than the last 3. Again, I didn't like season 3 of The Mandalorian. I didn't like Book of Boba Fett, and I think Obi-Wan Kenobi is probably the worst piece of live action Star Wars content we've ever gotten. And so, that means, the bar is not terribly high, as it were, to get to be better than those. But Ahsoka was better than that, than those 3 shows. Just nowhere near good where it needed to be to improve, to strengthen the Star Wars IP, which has taken a serious battering over the last, since Disney took it over, and not enough to compete with, the HBOs of this world and so on. I don't think it's not on House of the Dragon level so far, the season of Loki, and it may never be. So again, the creative restrictions of making content for Disney compared to HBO means it probably never can compete with a show like that. But, fingers crossed, if things go the right way, if the remaining episodes in the season kind of maintain or surpass this quality, it'll at least be a better show and a significant improvement compared to what Disney Plus has been putting out. And if they, depending how the story goes, if it's well written, if the dialogue is maintained, the acting quality, production quality is maintained, or gets better than what we've seen so far, it might end up being, not necessarily, again, I wouldn't say House of the Dragon level, but potentially a significant step in the right direction for Disney, and hopefully will allow them to compete with Netflix, Paramount Plus, and obviously it was HBO Max. I don't know what it's called now, but HBO's streaming service. Anywho, this is Defub21, as I've already said. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Again, the algorithm likes engagement. Please, 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 pretty please, with the cherry on top, like the video. And even more please, 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 with a cherry on top. 5 cherries on top. If you haven't, for some strange reason, already subscribed to the channel, please do so. And ring the bell for instant notifications as to when new content is coming from me your way. This is Defub21 signing off. Toodaloo.